Coming up on Cronkite News, a court hearing on whether Cochise County will certify their election.
Plus, how a push to certify doulas could lower maternal death rates.
And later, GCU is paving the way for diversity in esports, how the college's efforts are paying off.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Alexia Stanbridge.
And I'm Geraldine Torellas. Thank you for joining us. A big announcement from a judge in Cochise County this afternoon. Officials were in court after Secretary of State Katie Hobbs filed a lawsuit against the county for not certifying its election results by the state deadline.
Cronkite News reporter Carolina Hassett has more on the hearing.
A lot happening today. This morning, Cochise County supervisors were able to find a lawyer to represent them, but that attorney was not present for the hearing this afternoon, and that's why the board then asked for a continuance. But Hobbs' team demanded the county canvass the election results by the end of today. They claim the board of supervisors violated the law by holding out on canvassing the election and had a duty to canvass the results on time. According to state law, supervisors may postpone the canvass on a day-to-day basis if results from precincts are missing. However, this was not the case, according to the judge.
The board was required to canvass the election no sooner than November 14th and no later than November 28th of this year. The only lawful purpose under which they could have delayed that canvassing requirement was if elections had not been received. However, that did not occur in this case.
The judge ruled the supervisors should meet by the end of the day to canvass their election results. They did just that, announcing at about 3:30 that they had certified the election. In the newsroom, Carolina Hassett, Cronkite News.
The passing of Proposition 308 will allow undocumented students to pay in-state tuition and receive financial aid if they have attended an Arizona high school for at least 2 years. As Yuri Hahn reports, this repeals the 2006 initiative on Prop 300 that prevented students from receiving such grants.
Good girl.
Sarai Dueñas is a senior at Phoenix Christian Academy. She's a DACA recipient, and with the passage of 308, she looks forward to a brighter future going to community college and work as a paramedic.
Yeah, I was definitely excited because it'd make the process much easier and me getting into college, and it's really gonna help me a lot. So I was definitely happy about it.
Sarai says this proposition is life-changing, and without it, she would have struggled after graduation.
I feel like, most of us have grown up in the US and we definitely deserve a chance to have the same opportunities as people that do have a chance here. And definitely it would be a positive change.
At Arizona State University, Jose Patino works as a board member at Aliento. Cheers here from this youth-led organization on TikTok celebrating the passage of Prop 308 that serves undocumented and DACA students.
What we're doing right now with Arizona and also ASU, particularly as an implementation plan, how do we make sure that the colleges are aware of the new policy, how do they implement it, and then how do they train their staff, college advisors, to make sure to adequately advise students.
Aliento says students will start to see the benefits of Prop 308 this spring. They're encouraging students to apply to in-state colleges now, something Sarai plans to do.
For all those people that voted for the law to be passed, it definitely would change not just mine, but many other students' lives as well.
In Phoenix, Yuri Hahn, Cronkite News.
Patino is now working on education outreach with high schools and colleges to ensure everyone knows about the new opportunities the proposition will provide.
Every year, hundreds of people in the U.S. die during pregnancy or just after. Yet experts note the vast majority of these deaths are preventable. In Arizona, there's a push to expand access to certified doulas to help combat these deaths, particularly among individuals of color. I took a look at what's being done to make these services more widely available.
You're not hired by the hospital, you're hired by that family. You solely work for them. And that's something that's really unique about the doula-client relationship.
Doulas don't deliver babies, but they do offer important help throughout the birth process, from educating clients about what to expect to developing a birthing plan. More importantly, they provide patients with much-needed support, comfort, and advocacy.
Doulas are kind of helping to bridge that gap in communicating with your provider.
Letisa Ratliff has been a doula since 2017 and is part of a new advisory committee in Arizona. The group is exploring how the state might certify doulas, a first step toward getting these services covered under Medicaid.
I think that with Medicaid covering services, it will give more families the accessibility to doula care.
Nationally, Black women are 3 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related cause than white women. In Arizona, women of color are also more at risk. For this reason, Stephanie Moore of Ahwatukee hired Ratliff to be her doula.
For me, it was really imperative that if I'm going to have someone advocate for me and I'm going to have people in the room, that they're going to be people who are people of color.
Research shows that having a doula can lead to better birth outcomes, including fewer C-sections and improved mental health. But the cost and a lack of knowledge around what doulas do are barriers for some.
We do our best to have sliding scales, to have payment plans in place.
The advisory committee is also working to identify training for doulas that includes culturally relevant practices.
We're all having babies. We all, deserve to have a voice and have representation from the top to the bottom.
Despite the growing demand for doulas, experts stress that the crisis surrounding Black maternal mortality is a complicated issue needing complex solutions. Still ahead on Cronkite News, one program in Gilbert is focusing on sustainable businesses in the city. How one organization is using new ways of recycling.
And the Real Christmas Tree Board predicts pricing and other holiday seasonal trends. How these trends compare to last year up next.
Let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge? You can do anything. History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
The town of Gilbert started a new initiative to help share awareness about recycling and other sustainability efforts.
Reporter Olivia Doles tells us about a unique company that recently partnered with the program.
When you think of recycling, you probably think about newspapers and plastic. But what about your clothes or even your undergarments?
Johnny and Elaine Mitchell work out of this storage unit, packing undergarments for people who need them.
When we started the company, we had talked to many organizations that said, we need this. And I said, well, what about bras? Do you need bras for your ladies and girls coming into your program?
Elaine's company is called the Bra Recyclers. They have partnered with Green Gilbert. It's a town-run program that helps businesses and organizations become more environmentally friendly.
From a retailer's perspective, that most bras, underwear are either cut, landfill, or burn.
While Elaine and Johnny try to keep these bras out of the landfill, Other types of businesses also work with Carmelita Nichols with the town of Gilbert to do the same.
Right now we're just trying to get really any type of business that's interested that we can help with their sustainability efforts.
The town says business owners must commit to pollution prevention, water conservation, and waste reduction.
We arrange for the meeting. We ensure that one representative from each division will be available and present to do their respective part of the inspection.
Aaron Fossil with the town of Gilbert helps evaluate businesses with Elaine and Johnny's to make sure they are on tap with increasing sustainability efforts. For the Mitchells, being part of the Green Gilbert program has been great. Now they hope to expand even more, just in time for the holidays.
You know, many of these families, many of the women that come into the programs have families. They have a partner, they have a husband, they have sons. So we're also going to start offering boys and men's underwear.
The Bra Recyclers is now one of 8 businesses in the Green Gilbert Partnership Program. While the program is still newer, the town of Gilbert says they want to expand the program by certifying more businesses. In the newsroom, Olivia Doles, Cronkite News.
'Tis the season of Christmas trees, but what should you know about buying this year? Cronkite News reporter Mackenzie Hamill talked to experts about the 2022 trends.
I'm at the Munoz Christmas tree lot here in South Phoenix, just one of the many retailers reporting price increases on trees this year. But owners here say that this lot is different because the focus isn't profit, instead the spirit of giving back.
The scent starts to fill up the lot, and before you know it, it smells like Christmas.
For this tree lot, it truly is a family affair. Jimmy Munoz Jr. helps run his late father's Christmas tree lot with his other relatives. The 40-year-old business has remained an integral part of keeping family ties strong.
This was his tradition, and for him, the most important thing was having people together.
The Real Christmas Tree Board represents Christmas tree growers. In a survey, 71% of their retailers reported wholesale prices would increase anywhere from 5 to 15% this year. Munoz noted that some of their bigger trees have gone up as much as 25%.
Not a lot of growers were expecting the increased temperatures that make Christmas tree growing more difficult. And then access to water has changed, so it's not raining as much, and these trees need a lot of water to grow.
Marsha Gray, executive director of the Real Christmas Tree Board, says there isn't a tree shortage, but there is a smaller supply, similar to last year.
Over the last 7 years, we've had a smaller harvest than maybe 15 years ago. We see that number coming back in a couple of years.
For Jimmy Jr., the Munoz Christmas tree lot is a way to carry on his father's legacy by keeping prices affordable and staying connected to the community.
My dad wanted access, right, for people who were from a poorer part of town that couldn't afford a lot of times to go to a tree lot and spend a few $100s on a tree.
Gray and the Munoz family all say that a little homework goes a long way. So I'll leave you with a little tip. When you go out and buy your Christmas tree, what you're going to do is take a branch, give it a little bend. If it snaps, you'll know that the tree is likely old and dried out. If it's malleable, like this one is, you know that it's a fresh cut. In Phoenix, Mackenzie Hamill, Cronkite News.
With the holiday season fast approaching, we may start seeing more winter weather.
Jack Woo's in the Cronkite News Weather Center with your forecast. Jack, what weather can we expect coming our way?
Well, we can expect to see some colder temperatures as early as tonight as we go from the mid-60s on your way home from work all the way down into the high 50s to end off the evening. Now, while we're seeing those colder temperatures tonight, we will be seeing some precipitation possibilities this weekend. Now, Friday, we're not going to be seeing any of that. We'll be seeing some cloud cover that's almost exclusively going to affect the northern valley and the high country. But coming into Saturday, that precipitation band will be coming up from the south and affecting Phoenix, giving us about a 20% chance of rain. But by the end of the weekend and beginning of next week, that moisture stream comes out towards New Mexico and should give us clear skies by the beginning of next week. Now, our high temperatures will be affected by that cloud cover on Friday, but not as much here in Phoenix. In Phoenix, we're sitting at the average for this time of year at a high of 70 degrees, and the same in Casa Grande. Going a bit up north of that's where we find those lower highs, sitting in the high 40s in Flagstaff and the Grand Canyon, and then coming to Sedona and Prescott, we're going to see highs in the mid 50s. Now, for that 8-day forecast, like I was telling you earlier, we have highs in the low 70s, and we have that cloud cover and rain. And then next week, we will be seeing those lower temperatures in the mid 60s for our highs and the high 40s for our lows. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Jack Wu.
I'm Kevin Redfern. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. The Sun Devil women's basketball team faced GCU for the first time in 28 years. Who came out on top? Next.
Okay, let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge? You can do anything.
History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Kevin Redfern. A newly revived collegiate crosstown rivalry has begun in the Valley. GCU and ASU women's basketball played each other last night for the first time since 1994. The two teams played a close one at GCU Arena, but the Sun Devil women walked away with the victory, handing the Lopes their first loss of the season. The first meeting in 28 years did not disappoint, and the crowd came out in full force. GCU Arena had a record attendance for a women's basketball game with over 6,000 fans before tip-off.
We did do a home and home, so next year we'll travel down the road, probably for another. I mean, this is great. It's great competition for us. You know, we're right next door, and look what this did for women's basketball tonight. You know, I think this definitely progressed our sport, and I think it was an exciting brand of basketball that fans got to watch.
The Arizona Fall League is a place for many young minor and MLB players to get more reps. And as Cronkite News reporter Caleb Wiley explains, it's the perfect place for a player coming off a great season to add to his toolbox.
After a breakout season and being named Chicago Cubs Minor League Player of the Year, first baseman Matt Mervis, who plays for the Cubs AAA affiliate in Iowa, decided to hit the Arizona Fall League to try and add to his game.
Just get more at-bats, more reps, see more pitchers, particularly lefties. Just, you know, the more things thrown at me, the better. Just more experience, more in the memory bank.
Mervis took his time to pursue a professional career. After being drafted in the 39th round coming out of high school, he decided to play at Duke University as a two-way player, where he was a pitcher as well.
I pitched because I threw hard and I was able to play. Like you said, I was a two-way and I wasn't really getting at bats. So, you know, pitching got me on the field, got me involved. But I've always known I'm a hitter.
During his last year as a Blue Devil, COVID struck, ending his season early. Mervis then signed as an undrafted free agent with Chicago. In his first year in Single A, Mervis struggled, posting a .204 average in 69 games. Just 2 years later, the first baseman had his breakout season, hitting .309 with 36 home runs and 119 RBIs in only 137 games.
It just shows that he doesn't really give up and he's a grinder, and talent can come from anywhere. You don't have to be a first or second rounder. You can be, like I said, talent comes from anywhere, and he just displays that really well.
Mervis finished Fall League action tied for first place in home runs with 6, and also drove in 12 runs in 17 games. The first baseman hopes his swing will land him a spot in the big league club next season. In Mesa, Caleb Wiley, Cronkite News.
The Cubs have not yet announced his call-up, but they are expected to at some point during the season next year. Women continue to fight for equality in the sporting world, and esports is no exception. Now, one Arizona school is helping to change the narrative. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Bender gives us a closer look at GCU's esports program and its diversity efforts.
GCU's esports program is a leader in diversity in the gaming world. And Purple Rain, their all-female tournament for Valorant, a popular first-person shooting game, is their most recent effort. Esports director Jay DeShong said they made the tournament to proactively fix a problem of equity.
When we kind of put the women's Valorant team together, we realized there wasn't a space for them to compete. So for us, just like the team exists for us to create space for the women in our program, we're kind of creating the league with the same thing in mind.
But the tournament is just a stepping stone for GCU's larger plan of creating a more inclusive space for women in esports. Esports supervisor Marissa Rohr wants to close the gap between women and men gamers.
Going into a collegiate and professional space, there is a huge lack of equity between women and men gamers. Ideally, we want to bridge that gap between women leagues and, normal gameplay.
And to DeShong, the solution is highlighting the stories of women playing esports as role models for future gamers.
Really just being able to tell stories of those people to show our women, like, hey, you don't have to be anything. You can be who you are. You can come as you are. You don't have to worry about any stereotypes. Just come as you are, and esports will accept you.
In the end, DeShong wants GCU to be the gold standard when it comes to women's esports leagues.
I know that if we do a good job with this, that Riot comes to us and say, hey, we want to do women's leagues. You guys have been doing women's leagues for the last 3 years. Here's a check to keep doing it with our name on it.
In Phoenix, Tyler Bender, Cronkite News.
Registration for Purple Rain will open next year in January, and the tournament will start in February. As women at GCU make waves in esports, 3 women at the World Cup are making their own history. Stephanie Frappart of France, Nusa Back of Brazil, and Karen Diaz of Mexico make up the all-female referee team who oversaw the Costa Rica versus Germany match today. Frappart has made history before, becoming the first woman to oversee a men's European club match and the first to officiate a men's World Cup qualifier. There are 6 women in total officiating the World Cup this year. Germany defeated Costa Rica 4-2. One more note to pass along. Devin Booker was just named Western Conference Player of the Month after leading the Suns to a conference-best 15-6 record and scoring 51 points last night. Monty Williams was also named Western Conference Coach of the Month. The Suns will host the Rockets tomorrow night. That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Alexia.
Coming up after the break, are you in need of a sewing machine, cordless drill, cake pans? Find out where you can check one out for free in your community.
Different about you, a new brightness in your eyes.
Welcome to the Hotel Portofino.
How utterly charming.
Something is coming, can you feel it now?
My dreams have been invigorated.
We like stories that are going to elevate us.
Feel it now.
What is your sense now of the situation?
Something is coming.
They gave us possibilities.
This is the opportunity to share my recipes.
Everywhere you look.
You're going deep into the heart of America.
The
Holocaust is a story that Americans have to reckon with, too.
This is pure exploration.
Wow!
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
The holiday season is here, and with it, holiday baking. If you rush out to a public library to search for cookie recipes, you might find other things you need, like baking tins.
That's what this library in Mesa is offering, and that's not all. You may be amazed at some of the things you can borrow from a public library these days. Reporter Haley Forbes shows us.
Power tools, instruments, computer accessories. Libraries aren't just for books anymore. The Los Angeles County Library has a tool library where you can check out a power washer or even baking pans.
It started because we wanted to be able to provide our residents, our community, with tools and resources that they may not necessarily have access to for free.
At the Los Angeles Public Library, you can do more than just read about ukuleles. You can try one out yourself.
There's 18 branches that have instruments that people can check out with their library card and take home and borrow it and learn at home at their own pace.
Some libraries, like the Los Angeles Central Library, have the option to check out a laptop computer, a router, or other tech items.
We have a program that's called Tech to Go. In this program, we loan out technology for patrons to use at home so that they can keep themselves connected.
Access to technology, instruments, and tools help the community in more ways than one, as those involved in the public library system explained. In Los Angeles, Haley Forbes, Cronkite News.
The Mesa Public Library's Stuffbrary even has a telescope or croquet set you can borrow.
If you are in need of tools or other resources, check out your local library to see what unique things they have available. That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.